welcome everybody. Thanks for joining into this new session for B2B Frontrunners. Today we have a very exciting case. I'm very looking forward. I think it will be a very interesting time you spend with us. But let's start first. Who am I? My name is Mauro Boffardi. I'm responsible for Intershop for the Nordic countries and South Europe. I'm originally Italian. I worked in e-commerce for about 25 years now, and I'm following our customer and support them into adoption of our portal and on their projects. What we are doing today, I will be your host today, and I will guide you through the event. I will explain a little bit the context, what we are talking about. I will explain who those fantastic people besides me are. And then we'll hear about Atlas Copco, what company it is. Probably won't need a presentation, but of course it's good to hear. Everybody knows about Atlas Copco, the journey they have made. And at the end, we try also to sum up with lesson learned and what can we expect for the future. As a general rule for all this session, from now on, you are more than welcome to raise question. You can use the chat to raise question at any time. We wanted to make it very little PowerPointy and more explanation and discussion. So if you have questions, doubts, do not hesitate to ask, or even save it for the session later. It's up to you, but we want to make it more interactive and useful as possible. So let's see a bit the context. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? We're talking about customer portals and the digital journey that our customers are running on, are using, are experiencing on our platforms. What happens today is that in the wave of digitalization that happened, the customer journey is often very fragmented. That means that for every company, there are so many different channels where a company contact the customer or the prospect. There are so many services that are offered before, during, and after sales, so many tools. And in the race of digitalization, all of those tools have been chosen, are being implemented, hopefully, but there is a lack of a coherent interface. So customers had to remember, learn, adopt what is your username for this service, what is the URL, at what time do people reply. For those things I need to call, for those things I need to send the form, and it's a very time-consuming and frustrating experience for the customers across all type of industries. Right? There is a report from Gartner that says that more than 75% of the buyers want a rep-free sales experience. Why? Because I can do the things with my pace when I want. I would like to have all the information. I would like to be in control. And this fragmented landscape is a bit working against this. And at the same time, companies want to have those touch point. I don't want to have one unique person following all aspects of the customer. Companies need to have their own internal structure. So how those two things match together and what solution can be done. Let's introduce the speakers for today, and we can hear why. Today's speakers are very close and dear to me. We discussed, I know Atlas Copco for a long time. We sat together with Thomas more than 6 years ago, discussing the vision of what a portal could be. That was something very theoretical and very open and very unsure. It was a distant future. Atlas Copco, you will learn more, but is a global company with a lot of processes, a lot of organization worldwide. It seems like impossible journey to put together. But 6 years later, we are here, is running. They're doing great things. You will see very shortly, and they are still growing. So now they went through 3 phases, creating the background and the infrastructure for their digital services. The second journey, they expanded it globally, and in the third part, they are developing and they are adding more and more services. I think you will find definitely inspirational examples for what they're doing. So now I will introduce the speakers. Again, do not worry, do not hesitate, raise the questions, we will tell him. So let's start introducing Thomas Areskog. Thomas?
Thank you, Mauro.
Who are you?
So I'm VP Digital Sales, Marketing and Service at ITBA, which is one of the business areas of Atlas Copco.
Okay. And we have Gerrit.
Yes, good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me here. I'm not so important as a speaker today, but as we would like to keep the webinar really interactive, I will do the kind of interview style with Thomas. Thomas, of course, has a lot of pictures also prepared, but we would like to go through it more interactively. So I will also be your voice if you paste something into the chat. My role at Intershop is I'm still in sales. So I just heard that we have 75% of people don't like a web-free experience, but yeah, there's still room also for the hybrid experience, I would say. So there's still room for salespeople like me. And next to sales, I'm also setting up the customer success with an Intershop, and maybe that relates a little bit more to this as well. Also at Intershop, we are integrating different silos together. So looking forward to the story of Thomas. And let me also take over here immediately. Thomas, maybe you can do some kind of introduction on Atlas Copco. What is Atlas Copco about exactly?
Yeah, maybe I can start with that. So Atlas Copco is a really old industrial company in Sweden, and we've been here since 1873. Our biggest owner is the Wallenberg family that has been with us all through all these years. We have around 55,000 employees and are present in 73 countries. But we are a very decentralized organization. So our biggest mantra is the closest to the problem knows how to solve the problem. So I represent Industrial Technique. It's about now 16%. It says here we say 1/5, but maybe the others has outgrown us. But we are all autonomous, and we have our own customer base. I think we have seen good growth for many years, but maybe we're most proud of our profitability, that we really try to stick to independently of if there is headwind or tailwind, which there will always be. But as you can see, we have had good growth from the last 4 years, and we really see that the opportunities still are out there. Mainly now we see it in automation, where customers truly invest in automating their assembly solutions.
Thomas, you're also very much in automotive, right? So your customers are very much in automotive.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say we're almost everywhere, but I think we have one of our divisions is automotive. We call it the motor vehicle industry. And I was a little bit shocked in the beginning. How can general industry, which is everything else, be just the same size as the motor vehicle industry? But taking a look at the satellite camera from Google Maps, you see that Earth is pretty much populated by cars. So it's a really big industry for us. But we're also really big in mobile phone assembly or wind towers, or so we have a huge spread of our tools, and a lot based on quality and speed in production. And it's usually based on collecting the data from the assembly and knowing exactly which screws you have tightened. Some say that 75% of all cars in the world are at least having one screw assembled by a tool from Atlas Copco. And then we have a big service business that is to keep things up and running. We also have a few other brands like Chicago Pneumatic and distributors, and then we work in the gluing arena as well. So we talk about putting things together. And some years ago, we bought machine vision solutions to make sure that we can truly be a partner to our customers also in the automated arena. Let's see if I can move forward here. And here is some of our brands. In the bottom, you see Vision brands, and in the top is the Tools brands. And for now, our e-com is running the Tools brands. So it's Atlas Copco, Chicago Pneumatic, distributors, Fuji, and Roadcraft. But I could also foresee the Vision Solutions to join us later on, but it's more based on their back end. They are not ready at the moment.
Right. So you have different customer centers for these different brands, and they are also in different countries. Different brands are.
I'd say we're really sort of hybrid in that sense. So everything is sold in customer centers, but some customer centers handle multiple brands. Some customer centers are unique for a brand. So it all depends on the market size and the situation. If we have one office for many brands, or if there are two offices, and more separated approach to the market.
And some of those brands are also more direct, and some are more indirect through distributors, right?
Yeah, so we have around 50, and yes, that's true as well. So if you take Chicago Pneumatic brand, it's 100% distribution, or 95, even though they're moving a little bit towards direct business now. But overall, we say that around 50% of our sales is through distribution, and mainly that is to cover the smaller companies. Where we don't see enough business to go direct ourselves.
Right. Okay. So so you Mauro already explained. It took a couple of years from vision to where we are today. So you're running for ITBA and an Intershop commerce platform. So it's one single platform which you run for those different brands that you just explained. And also in all those different countries for all those different customer centers, with all the global and local needs that you have, of course, and the differences in the go-to markets on the different markets. But can you show a little bit more, or can you explain a little bit more what you have built? I think you even would like to do a kind of demo.
Yeah, I can show you a little bit. Maybe I should start with why I joined 6 years ago, and my mission was to digitally transform sales and marketing for ITBA, the business area I just explained, and embarking on this journey. We saw the two big sort of direct KPIs that we wanted to sort, and one is the self-serve. We had a lot of calls to our salespeople with things where the customers would rather serve themselves, and it could be a 3D drawing, it could be to look up which spare parts they needed, or which tools that they wanted to buy. But all of this we wanted to serve, as well as moving on to zero touch orders. We came from, you could say, multiple touch orders, because the sales guy looked in a paper catalog maybe, and then he wrote down what he wanted to propose in an email. He sent it to the customer, got the email back, and then he entered it into SAP. So it was like duplicate order entries, you can say. And now we're with e-com, our target is to have zero touch. So it's the customer places the order, it goes straight into SAP and is executed. And then when that's not feasible, then we have inside sales that can take those kind of orders, and then we utilize the CRM system. In our case, we have Salesforce, and it's really integrated into this seamless journey that we have built with e-com as the entry platform, but with an important CRM on our side, on the inside, you can say. And our focus was, we split up our portfolio into transactional orders and transformational orders. So you could think about it in the simple way. When we started, it was air tools was transactions and electric tools was transformation. But then it has evolved, and now all repeat buys are what we call transactional orders. And when you really want to transform a customer to a new value lever that they have not had before, then we talk about it as a transformation. But maybe I can show.
Just one. There was one question already from the audience. Alexander, he asked. You said that 50% portion of sales goes through the distribution.
Yes.
So how do you make sure that website visitors from your website come straight to the distributors to order and finally purchase through the distributor? How can you explain a little bit how that works?
Yeah, I'll show it a little bit later as well. But I think what's important here is actually the leads you get, and then the secondary is how do you serve those leads. And our e-com, when people order directly from us, either direct customers ordering on the e-com or distributors, they are set up with prices, etc. And we know who they are because we legally need to know who they are. So it's a 5-day process to become a customer of ours. So how we tackle this is that if there is a customer coming to our site, which happens a lot, I mean, majority of new customers is somehow entering your sphere digitally. And then we are collecting that lead, and then we're sharing that lead either to our own sales, if it's a lead that is positioned where we serve direct, or we share that lead to our distributors. And since our distributors procure 100% online in our e-com, they are then taking that's where they're getting their leads, and that's also where they close the lead when they buy, so that we can follow the money around 360 and know, when you saw the portfolio from Mauro on the diverse activities you can do on the marketing side, what is really working, what is not working. And to know that, you need to close the loop, and we close the loop with our e-com solution. Then let's see if I can share here. And then we go here. All right. So here you are on our website. And if you go, you see insights here. That's more sort of the expert hub. It draws a lot of leads, but that is in Adobe. Also, when we talk about industry served or solutions, we're in Adobe. But when we talk about our products, then we are in Intershop. So this is our e-com solution, but now I'm not logged in. So if you log in, then you are in what we call the smart portal or our portal. If you're not logged in, you can still build your basket, and you can sort how you want to find the right models. You find the information that we have about our tools, a leaflet. So also our salespeople are here, and then they take the sales leaflet that they need if this is what they want to sell. But they also find, let's see now if I go to, now I went back, so let's go back, and then I can go to the models of this product, for example, and as you can see, I can add to quote if, and we get a lot of our leads by customers actually filling the basket and then asking for a quote on that. But it also helps to find the spare parts, find your related documents, safety manuals, 3D drawings, related accessories. So by putting the e-com together with the web, that's how we really you hit two flies in one punch. So we were looking at ourselves as digital laggers, and our customers looked at us as not really fulfilling the experience they wanted digitally with us, and we believe that it's super critical for us to be a winner in the procurement journey. We saw some data that 60 to 70% of the loyalty is actually built up in the purchase situation. Then of course you need to serve them well, and what they buy needs to work, but a lot of the loyalty is built up in a seamless procurement. Let me see if I can.
There's a
shift
question.
slide.
Yeah, that would work. And there was also immediately a question from Elena. Is there a strategical reason why you are not prompting logging in the public view, but are guiding towards quoting or contacting? So yeah.
I guess all the customers that we are our customers and been approved by credit to be our customers, they are users of our logged in view, and it's the single sign. But of course our web, when you're not logged in, that's actually majority of that is to attract new business and new users. So that's why we're not prompting it, but we have all our major customers like BMW, Ford, BYD. They're all logging into our portal, and there they can see who's their salesperson, who's their inside sale, who's their service technician. All of that is fed from the CRM system. They can see outstanding quotes. They can see what they have bought in the recent years and so on.
Yeah.
And this is just to show how we're building up for distribution to actually get their leads, and then when they buy, they close the lead, and that way we know what is working and what is not. And we also know, before it was fumbling in the dark a little bit, since 50% of our business is distribution, we didn't know, are they really taking care of our leads? Who is the really good working distributors versus not? And now, of course, this is part of our quarterly discussion with our distributors, if they are not performing versus someone else on close rate or so on.
Right. So here in this screen we saw the CRM leads that are shared with the distributor, and they can start from here fulfilling this.
They pick them up since they have their own CRM. Often they sell other stuff and then just our tools. And then of course they need to. We cannot tell them that they should use Salesforce, for example.
No.
That's a great setup, because that's a very common problem, right? So you solve the problem of distributing product information, because people as an Atlas Copco component or see the logo comes to you, and usually what happens on the distributor is a bit hidden for the normal relationship with manufacturing distributor. So you have both the good for both worlds. So you have product, you control
but we also share all our product information. I think when we started this, it was an important part of the journey that we in parallel started implementing a PIM. Because the master data is key to get it right if you want to succeed digitally. So that PIM also with you can easily share whatever information you want with the distributor to put online for them. So then you just click which fields they need and match it with their requirements, and you can swap off pictures and videos and whatever.
Yeah, so integrated PIM, and you even integrated Tacton for more complex products, right? So you can even order complex products that you have to configure online. So it's really self-service.
So we had a partnership from before with Tacton, and that was then mainly used by our salespeople. But now we're also putting that online, and it's a seamless journey for them. If you just push a button that you want to configure, and then you configure it, and then you add it to basket, and becomes a long list of items.
Yeah. Alexander asked, what is the proportion of distributors with online shops versus without online shops? So
I'd say that majority of our distributors are specialists, so they don't have online shops. But then we sell on Amazon as well. So we have generalist distributors as well. And of course, they all have their own shop.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move forward to see a little bit of everybody's interested in the real KPIs, right? So what does this do for the business?
Yeah, and here you can just see that the most important for us is to get rid of manual orders. And we had the EDI before with some big customers. We had Esker, which is what we call it, where they read PDFs. But now the key channel, what we really want is the e-com. Because then there is absolutely zero touch. They actually place their order and execute the order themselves, and we do, or when I say we do nothing, but if you're in sales or marketing, you do nothing. Then of course there is production and logistics, but they're not so much part of what I'm measured on. So we measure a lot on getting rid of manual orders.
Yeah, so this really links to the context that Mauro also presented in the beginning, right? That 75% of the customers want it. But I'm also curious, because you also see in the theory that when people place their own orders, that there's a higher error rate or something like that. Do you feel that as well, or is that still on a good quality level at your?
No, we feel that the quality is really high. To be honest, and where we see a huge quality improvement is actually on our bigger customers. The majority of them are not on punch out yet. Some are, but not all of them. But they are building their basket on our site, and there which accessories are linked to which tools. You can use the configurator. So it's so much easier to build your solution online. And before they were doing the order on old data that maybe we updated their data once a year in their procurement system. So they were actually placing their order still in Ariba or Coupa, but with very limited information. And then it easily became that they ordered a 30-meter cable when they wanted a 3-meter cable, or because they had no visual interpretation of what they were ordering, and there were no connections on what they were. So we actually have drastically reduced faulty orders with moving more online. And if you're in B2B, you know that it's you want to sort of serve your customer and take faulty buys back, but that's like a really tedious journey.
Yeah, and it usually it costs a lot of money in the process of the customer, right? I mean, if they have the wrong product, then it can have a huge impact in B2B. Veronica also asked here, so do you actively reach out to distributors to convert them from EDI to punch out and things like that?
And not we if they have EDI, it doesn't matter if they do the punch in or the punch out. I forget which one is what, but for us it's important that when they want to procure from Ariba or Coupa or their own procurement system, and they want to buy from Atlas Copco, they press the Atlas Copco button in their system. They're transferred over to the Intershop ecom. And there they build their basket, and then they transfer the basket back to their Ariba and Coupa, and then their approval process is of course in their system. And when they're done, if they want to send the order through EDI, or if they want to send it back into the ecom to be pushed to our SAP, it doesn't really matter as long as the order is correct. It's just cheaper to do. So new customers we do usually with full punch out, punch in, because it's cheaper to set up than to set up EDI. But some customers still want our new customers still want EDI. So we're not closing the door on making a seamless journey.
No. So it's easy to set up, and I think it also has what you already explained as well, the advantages of cross and upselling, right? And the visual. Better visual representation of the assortment. Elena asks, can you explain a little bit more how you integrated Salesforce and Esker orders? What is the user flow?
Esker is not integrated at all, but Salesforce. Let's see what we're doing now is we're integrating Salesforce to our portal. And it's more to see, maybe for example, your contacts, but also to see all your outstanding quotes. But it's more depending on where you have your data and how you want to connect it. But we connect the systems since the interface to the customer is the web, and in this case Intershop. That's where we display the information, and then we either pull it from SAP or from the PIM or from Salesforce, depending on where the data lies.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, let's move forward with your presentation.
Yep, and this is the biggest one. We still have 43% of our manual orders is on this Fuji brand in Japan. So pretty much everyone else is taken, but that one will close by the end of this year, and it was due to the data that were not in a good enough shape for the Fuji brand. So now we have done that. So that's
just more like an internal, let's say, blocker that the data was not there than a customer blocker, right? Because in Asia, B2B e-com is huge, right? Also in China.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with that. Even though I'd say Japan is maybe a lagger in many ways when it comes to digital, at least in my experience. And they still do a lot of things on paper. And this is just, if you see here, it's like an easy report that we can pull whenever we want to go into a customer center, see which customers they have, and see what are the manual orders and what is e-com, what is not. And that way we can see if a distributor places the orders the wrong way. it's just an easy dashboard to follow. And to the left here, you see our punch-out customers. I'm especially proud of Lear, where we have around 150 factories connected through punch-out, and they place all their orders there.
Yeah. There was a question. Can you also buy a compressor in the same e-commerce area?
No. So there's no. We don't share the same buyers as compressor, so we don't even have the same CRM. So there's no connection with that, and also we explored it actually 6 years ago when we started the journey, and we saw are there synergies for us, but then we also saw that they saw the biggest potential in actually the smaller compressors, more in a B2C like experience where builders could buy a compressor with a credit card. And we don't even have the credit card functionality in ITBA. That's not how we do our business. So we were not targeting the same type of journey as Compressor Technique.
Yeah. In this overview here, you mentioned a couple of challenges like price frame agreements. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest, there were a few big hurdles on the way now when you look back at the journey. And of course, one is price, to actually get the correct price for the end customer in the system. So it's really easy a distributor can have different prices for different end customers. That's fine. But I think the sales, they are not, it doesn't go easy for them to let go of this negotiation and then putting the price, the final price in the e-com and not being part of every deal, and you sit and negotiate. So getting prices in the system was one hurdle, and I think maybe the biggest hurdle was on the master data, where I told you we introduced the PIM, and you all have product marketing managers or product owners for different parts of segments of what you sell, and my idea was that they would be responsible for the quality of the data that will be displayed digitally, because they are somewhat measured on how much you sell of their segment. But that never really worked out, and I think they are too caught up with customer issues or with new products being launched, so they never come about to clean on things that are a little bit older. And also it might be that things that were developed and reached the market 5 years ago doesn't really have an owner anymore because it's just rolling. So that way that fell between the shares, and then I spoke to someone else that was successful in B2B e-com, and they said, but we have taken over the data, master data ownership, so we are the ones that are responsible for the quality of the data online. And when we did that, it went really fast. So we put up a really small team with 3 people, and we have like, I think 400,000 SKUs or something like that. But doing that, we managed to really get really good data on our products and movies and leaflets and all the things we needed by having the ownership and making sure that really happened. And one other part in that is that also then we took ownership of the category tree, that how you display what you sell, because customers are searching for your products in one way, but you organize in another way. And don't try to display your assortment according to how you organize. And if you want to break out of that, then you need to be allowed to take the ownership of how you display things digitally. And that was not really easy to convince people to let go, and that also took quite a bit of time.
Yeah, and I guess also the so it's the quality of the product data, but also how they fit together, or how parts fit together, right? So the validity of if you combine certain products into a quote or something like that, that it really fits together.
Yeah, and there we also spent a lot of time to have R&D. I mean, you guys built this accessory. What does it fit with? But we never got successful there. But so what we did in the end was actually to utilize the data we already had and do a best match. and that has worked out really well. So now we have most of the things connected, and instead we clean if there are mistakes.
Yeah, great. Okay, thanks very much. Let's move to the next part, because you mentioned it's next to ecom, it's an important marketing function as well, the new portal. So it's actually bringing you new customers, right?
Yeah, and I think that's where we're so happy that we actually put the ecom on the web. And I think the main reason, because we had consultants trying to recommend, should we do it as a separate ecom, or should we do it integrated on our web? And they couldn't really tell us. So what we ended up with was more sort of, okay, so we are B2B, but we're followers to B2C, and it's not like you go to Zalando to look at nice clothes and then you go to another Zalando and buy your clothes. So that was the decision we took, and of course that helps us a lot now with driving the digital focus on our to get leads digitally and sales digitally, and also new customers. And there's a lot of happening in that field. So I think when I started, it was just 4 years ago or something. We looked into chatbot, and the trust from a customer online of a chatbot was like super low. I mean, they thought that was pretty much the worst thing you could do, is to ask this dude that was an icon on the site, and for sure you will never ever get help. But now people really start to believe in the chatbot, and with AI and the questions you can do, and how easily it is to scrape your site and feed that into the AI, that has proven to be a really, really strong lead generator for us, as an example.
Yeah, the numbers that you present here are really massive. I was also triggered by the 22% year-on-year growth because of SEO, but you also put there already geo. So are you actually focusing on being represented also in those generative AI tools like Perplexity and ChatGPT, etc.?
I can say for the Atlas Copco brand, we've so far this year seen like a 4% decline in web traffic or something like that. But if you look, generally it's like 20 to 30% decline, and we're not even going to measure traffic going forward, since people are asking the chatbots or LLMs instead when they have questions, and there are already now data sources that you can use to see how you perform on the different chatbots. What we do is more checking on the very important phrases that we come up, but also the groundwork you have done in SEO also pays off in the geo. But there are new learnings to take to be geo compatible. But we get a lot of leads from the LLMs at the moment.
Already, yeah. So it's working already, and indeed, your groundwork with SEO is important, and of course, you can start measuring also in the language models how you are presented there. There's also a question from the audience. How do you integrate inside sales into this occasion? Are they still pushing also customers to the e-com, or are they still doing it by phone?
No, I think sort of in in our e-com, we are targeting the distributors, and that means all the smaller customers that comes through the distributors, and we're targeting the really big customers that buy a lot from us. They're really interested to hook up on and buy online, but all the customers in the middle, then they don't want to go and buy every once a year on an e-com and have a login, or even though it's single sign-on, but it doesn't really work. So inside sales for us is to capture the volumes that are not compatible with our e-com strategy.
Yeah. Alexander also asked, do you also have integrated the stock of the distributors? So, or are you considering that as well, so that you really make it possible to do a buy now directly from the distributor?
No, they are interested. We send the lead to the distributor. They talk to the distributor, and then we have not integrated their stock. Actually, we have in the Chicago Pneumatic. There is another tool to take care of that, but not on the Atlas Copco brand.
Okay, right. So let's move to the next section. You also really involve the customers in to get their feedback and to learn and how to improve the website, right? So can you explain a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's we're really proud that we are now on par, and actually this is above 60% now, the CSAT. So that's the customer satisfaction score on our web. On the e-com, it's like 90% or 95%, but in the non-logged in version, how well are you solving what you want to do when you come to our site? And by just collecting systematically all the feedback we get from the website, from our customer experience management, from customer visits that our sales do, and do Jira tickets, or we do research activities, or we check on the e-com if something is missing. All the feedback we get are sent into an AI that sorts it and then distributes it for action to our different responsibles, and then we attack. Here you can see where are the biggest buckets, and by attacking the biggest buckets, we are continuously improving our customer satisfaction score. And I've worked so much in this for 30 years, and I haven't really seen before how you can move these type of metrics so fast by attacking it in a structured way and doing the biggest issues first. But you could really make a difference. And here are then the sort of the action points we do. But I guess it's more on the overall level that is interesting.
Yeah. It's really interesting to see. And so just that I understand correct, so you're using also AI already to prioritize the topics that you need to...
The AI structures the feedback, because it comes in a lot of words, and then is this a product information, or is it a picture, or is it a product missing, or is it that the loading times are not fast enough, or is it are you missing the three-dimensional drawing, or what is the issue you have with us?
Yeah, we also get quite nice questions from the audience. So really e-commerce related questions. Like, do you measure the volume of in-progress carts or abandoned carts, so to say, that are still there?
Yes, and we put a lot of effort into this abandoned carts in the beginning, but then we didn't really have any, so then we haven't done it for 3 years. But it was like 96% follow through or something like that.
Oh wow, okay. And do you also do specific campaigns, marketing campaigns on the e-commerce platform?
Yes, we do, in the sense that we utilize it to promote better CO2 alternatives. So we try to upsell on sustainability.
Yeah. I like this question as well. You're basing the 60% target on what? Because you basically say I'm okay with 40% not being satisfied.
No, I'm not. This comes from my customer experience lead. He says that the average CSAT score in manufacturing is 60%, and we have been way below that. So we set the target to get to benchmark this year, and next year our target will be to go beyond. We're having a target at 65% for next year, and then at least we will be ahead of competition. But no, I mean, we are on benchmark, so we're not best practice yet.
No, okay, but it's really improving a lot indeed. And one of the items that is also very important for customers is the product availability. So in Punchout or e-commerce, do you provide the actual product availability or just the next delivery date or something like that? So what kind of information do you have?
We almost everywhere we provide the availability and when you will have it, because it depends a little bit on the custom situation and which country you are in, and so the delivery date can differ a bit, and we display that. But there are still some countries that, and I don't know why, but they have like some sort of 5 days is green. So they're sort of having spans because they're afraid about the promise.
Yeah, I can imagine. Maybe last question from Veronica about the quoting part. So if a customer requests a quote, will it be looked at by sales or is it automatically answered with preset prices? So this is mainly about the price setting, or do you use
no,
AI?
we have value-based pricing and also market pricing. So we are it goes to if they fill the basket and ask for a quote, then it's a super hot lead. So then it goes directly to inside sales, and they will put the price on it.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you very much. I don't know if there are more questions from the audience. It's really nice to have this interactive, and you're really good, Thomas, to be able to answer every question. So thank you for that. So let's move to
thank you.
Yeah, let's move what we learned today. Kind of summary. Mauro, would you like to take the lead on that one?
Yes. Summarizing that is that there is a growth and is an exponential growth in the type of services that you can offer on a digital platform. So you need a base that is a software platform, a software ecosystem that allows you to do that. Thomas mentioned it. Some other brands didn't have the right data yet, didn't have the right processes. So it's important to build a solid foundation, and then you can expand. And then when you reach this a certain level of maturity, then you can really start running on those things, or creating small improvement. You don't need to do extremely big projects, but you need to listen to your customers, even with tools with AI and feedback and the promoter score, but giving some direction, and then keep thinking, how can I keep solving problems to my customers? And each of that will generate more drive or saving costs that you can reinvest in generating even more drive and saving costs. So it's a really, really ideal journey what you are doing. You're very humble, Thomas, but many companies are not there yet, but it's possible, and it's actually generating a concrete, measurable, significant economical improvement.
Yeah.
So that is really good. And
Mauro, there are still some questions coming in, and I think they're interesting to answer also from an Intershop perspective. So Atlas Copco has been rolling out in different countries in the last years. It's quite a very large global organization, of course. Can you help describe a little bit how that works in the Intershop architecture? Do you have different e-commerce platform connecting to multiple ERPs or something like that, or how does it work in the Intershop platform for Atlas Copco?
Should I?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm kind of proud of that. So in Intershop, Atlas Copco has one instance of Intershop that is running for all those countries. So Intershop is built to be multi-channel, so you can reuse and share the same data and even the same development across all channels, and you can scale horizontally or vertically. What do I mean? Initially, in the first project, Atlas Copco scaled vertically, so build a portal, one channel, few countries, Sweden, US, something. So they started developing features. When the portal had reached a certain level of functionality, it has been rolled out through all different customer centers. Sorry. And how long did it take? Correct me, Thomas, if I'm wrong, but if you consider all the different brands and the different countries, it took more or less 1 year to roll out for 160 between country and shops, if we consider the Sutter.
I think it was more 2.5 years in total before we took the last countries with. You talk that they buy indent, and in the end, to sort everything and have it just running, it took 2.5 years, I would say.
Yeah, and in an ideal case, you can, let's say, copy paste. You can just activate the channel as it is, but of course, each channel countries has its own specifics, so that also takes time. I see also in other customers to adapt to the specifics. But again,
Brazil was legally with the tax complicated, and India was also complicated. So those were in the end.
Yeah, and architecturally speaking, is one cloud instance that is run by us, and this instance has all those different, we call it channels, so countries/brands. And each one of them is connected to its own instance of ERP, and then its own instance of backend system, depending on what it is. Of course, the race for Atlas Copco is to simplify, so have the same version of ERP everywhere or the same type of tools everywhere. That's the ideal part. But of course, each country has its own special things. But the benefit of this, what I'm really proud of, all those things that Thomas showed, that you are developed for one country, you can immediately deploy on all the other ones.
For everyone. So when we do development, we test for everyone at the same time.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're at 12 o'clock, so we have to close the webinar. It was really interesting. We can go on for many hours. You want to have the final word, Mauro, as a host?
Yes. So feel free to reach out to me, to the contacts here in the webinar, or to Gerrit or Thomas for any questions you want to learn more, you want to discuss what has been done. I'm here for you. We can go a little bit more in depth or see what else. I will suggest you also to have a look at this report that we are launching. So we created a B2B Commerce trend for 26 that you can download, where you can see not only what Atlas Copco is doing, but what is cooking in the industry, and that will be an inspirational part. And that's it. I think it was a really good session. Thank you, Thomas, a lot. Thank you, Gerrit.
Thank you, Maury. Thank you, Gerrit. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
I wish you a nice day. Goodbye, everybody.